Welcome back, story lovers, to a One Storyteller, the channel where every tale is a journey, every character comes to life, and every twist will leave you breathless. Whether you're here for the drama, the suspense, or the life lessons, we've got you covered. Today's story is one that will make you question authority, justice, and the power of standing up for what's right. It's a tale of racism, resilience, and a twist that will leave you speechless. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's dive into this unforgettable story. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a story. Let's begin. Crestwood was a bustling city with a diverse population, but beneath its vibrant surface lay deep-seated racial tensions. The police department, in particular, had a reputation for being harsh and unyielding, especially toward people of color. Officer Linda Harper was one of the most feared cops in Crestwood. A white woman with a reputation for being overly aggressive, Linda had a particular disdain for anyone who didn't fit her narrow definition of acceptable. Her racism was an open secret, whispered about but never confronted. The townsfolk were too afraid of her power and influence to speak out. On the other side of town lived Chief Marcus Thompson, a black man who had recently been appointed as the city's first black police chief. Marcus was a beacon of hope for many, a symbol of progress in a city that had long been resistant to change. But his appointment had ruffled more than a few feathers, especially Linda's. It was a crisp autumn evening when the tension between Marcus and Linda finally boiled over. Marcus had been working late, reviewing case files in his office, when Linda stormed in, her face red with anger. "You think you can just waltz in here and take over?" she spat, slamming her fist on his desk. "This city doesn't need someone like you calling the shots." Marcus remained calm, his eyes steady. "Linda, this isn't about me. It's about doing what's right for Crestwood. If you have a problem with that, maybe it's time you reconsidered your place here." Linda's jaw tightened. "You'll regret this," she growled before storming out. Later that night, Marcus was walking home when he heard footsteps behind him. Before he could react, a bag was thrown over his head and he was dragged into the shadows. When the bag was removed, he found himself handcuffed and shoved into the back of a police car. Linda stood over him, a cruel smile on her face. "You thought you could change things?" she sneered. "This city doesn't belong to people like you. Let's see how brave you are behind bars." Marcus struggled against the handcuffs, but they were too tight. He could hear the distant rumble of the police radio as Linda drove him to the station. His heart pounded as he realized the gravity of his situation. As they arrived at the station, Linda dragged Marcus inside, ignoring the shocked looks from her colleagues. She booked him under a false charge of resisting arrest and assaulting an officer, her arrogance blinding her to the consequences of her actions. Meanwhile, in the station, a young officer named Jake had been watching the entire exchange. Horrified by what he was witnessing, Jake knew he had to do something. He discreetly recorded the incident on his phone, determined to expose Linda's corruption. As Linda processed Marcus's arrest, Jake approached her, his face a mask of concern. "Linda, do you realize who you just arrested?" Linda rolled her eyes. "Some thug who thought he could mess with me. Why?" Jake took a deep breath. "That's Chief Marcus Thompson, our boss." Linda's face turned pale. "What? No. That's impossible." But as she looked closer, the realization hit her like a ton of bricks. She had just arrested her own boss. The backlash was swift and severe. Jake's video went viral and the entire city was outraged by Linda's actions. Protesters gathered outside the police station, demanding justice for Marcus and calling for Linda's immediate dismissal. Marcus, who had been released as soon as the truth came to light, gave an interview to a local news station. "This is not just about me," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "This is about the systemic racism that has plagued our city for far too long. It's time for change." The city council launched an immediate investigation into Linda's conduct. They reviewed the video, interviewed witnesses, and examined her past cases for any signs of bias or misconduct. What they found was shocking. Linda had a long history of disproportionately harsh treatment of black citizens and had made numerous racist remarks in private. The evidence was undeniable. Within weeks, Linda was summoned to a disciplinary hearing. The city council wasted no time in delivering their verdict. "Officer Linda Harper," the council chairman announced, "your actions in the case of Chief Marcus Thompson were not only unethical but also a blatant abuse of power. Your behavior is a disgrace to the police force, and you are hereby dismissed immediately." The room erupted in applause. Marcus, who had been invited to attend the hearing, felt a wave of relief wash over him. Justice had finally been served. With Linda gone, the police department began to change. New officers were appointed, and sensitivity training was implemented for all staff. Marcus became an advocate for police reform, sharing his story to raise awareness about racial bias in the legal system. As for Linda, she faded into obscurity, a cautionary tale of what happens when power is abused. And that, my friends, is the power of standing up for what's right. A story of cruelty confronted, justice served, and a community united. If this tale moved you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, every like, comment, and subscription helps us bring more stories like this to life. Until next time, this is A1 Storyteller signing off. Stay curious, stay kind, and always believe in the power of a good story. See you soon.